So we're going to demonstrate toning on the arms. So toning on the arms is really best for either clients that are looking to just get a bit more definition on the bicep side of the arm, but also for any particularly female clients that have some excess skin on the underneath of the arms. We are demonstrating on a male model today, so this will be more of the area that you would focus on if you had, you know, a bodybuilder or just someone looking again for just a little bit more definition on the arms. So what we'll do, as we do with any other session, is we're going to start off by wiping off the surface of the skin. So this just helps, like I've mentioned in the past, to just get any natural oils, lotions, and just any excessive bacteria off of the area that we're going to be working with. So I'll just wipe. With toning, I try to do everything in a lifting motion, including the wiping. So just keep that in mind as you're doing your toning session. On the machine, you're just going to go into your program settings. If you're using the 2.0, you're just going to use the body toning setting. If you're using a 3.0, you're going to select by gender, and then you're going to go into the body toning setting based on the sex of the client you're treating. So we're going to go into man. We're going to go into body toning, and we'll go ahead and get started. So because the body toning sessions are exclusively cold, we can go ahead and apply the gel directly to the skin in a nice even layer. So you see I'm taking a nice full pump of gel and just applying it, again, lifting motion, and just a nice even layer here. Remember that with slimming, we actually use the wand to distribute the gel when we're on the heat component, but for toning, which is what we're demonstrating today, we're just going to deposit the gel before we even apply the wand. So now what I'll do, I'll go ahead and take the wand in my dominant hand, and I'm gonna press play on the machine. I like to also make sure that the cable is to the right side of my right arm so I don't get caught on it as I'm doing the session. So I'll pull the machine nice and close to me, and then I'll go ahead and hit play here. So as for any toning session, we're going to start with a nice double tap and then a slow, broad upward stroke. And so with this area of the arm, you really want to make sure that you're avoiding the bone here. So definitely no double tapping on the elbow. Try not to put too much pressure on the shoulder either. But as with any toning session, we're just doing these double tap upward strokes followed by our opposing hand. So if you guys aren't familiar with the reason why we do this for toning sessions, I'll just go ahead and explain that a little bit further. And so the reason why we do the double tap is to help promote intracellular communication. The reason why we follow with our opposing hand is because the wand will pass with exclusively cold to produce vasoconstriction. Then our hand passes immediately after, and the body heat transference that comes from that creates vasodilation. So it's that alternation of vasoconstriction and vasodilation that's producing the microcirculation as well as collagen and elastin stimulation in the area, which is going to produce the effects that we see from toning sessions. And so with every toning session, it is a full 30-minute session on the 3.0. On the 2.0, it is a 20-minute session. The way that we do this when we're dealing with limbs is we would do half and half. So for example, I'm using the 3.0 today. We'll do 15 minutes on the right arm, 15 minutes on the left arm. And how I would break this up if you're really focusing on this area is I would focus on this area for about half of that 15 minutes, and then maybe focus on the inner part of the arms for the other half. Because it's a small area and the skin is not very thick, it definitely doesn't require the full 15 minutes. So you can split it 7.5 here and 7.5 on the inner part of the arm, which we'll demonstrate as well. So if we're gonna tone the inner part of the arm, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have the client lay with their arms slightly overhead. And what we're gonna do is we always wanna keep in mind the direction of lift. So even though it might seem like you would be coming in this direction, actually you're gonna go upwards towards the armpit. So you always wanna think about that sort of lifting, toning motion. This also will hopefully answer the question of if we can perform cryoskin over tattoos, and the answer is yes, as long as they are fully healed. So as I mentioned before, we'll just go over the same process again. So basically we're gonna start off by just using a fragrance-free baby wipe, wiping off the skin surface. So again, you're always gonna be wiping, applying the gel, and applying the technique in the direction that you wanna lift. We already did the bicep area, and so really what we're gonna just focus on in this area is right about there. So you're not really gonna come over this way. We already did this part of the arm. We're really gonna focus right here. In terms of the forearm, we tend not to treat that area because the skin is so thin. It tends to also not need a lot of toning just because it tends to be very tight and elastic just as is. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply the gel to this area. So again, a nice even layer of gel here. And then we'll go ahead and get started. So it's going to be the same technique as on the other side of the arm. So really the same technique that goes for all toning sessions is just a double tap and then a broad upward stroke followed by the opposing hand. So we'll go ahead and press play on the machine to get started. Again, when we double tap, we really want to make sure we're avoiding the bone of the elbow here. When we come up, of course, we don't want to come too close to the armpit because it can be quite sensitive. And so we're just going to do that double tap and that slow broad stroke. All right, and at the end of that part of the session, again, we're just gonna follow with that nice lifting massage. So just gentle massage in the same direction as your strokes. About 30 to 60 seconds.